Welcome back to Fifth Jet Gaming, where we're going to go through the deep dive of leftovers. That's right, this is leftovers. This is a deck that ends up having a whole bunch of other cards that I had laying around for an entry-level deck. I had since then dropped a few bucks. I dropped probably about $5 into the deck overall, just to have some of the cards that I wanted to end up having. The idea with this deck is that A, the main bulk of it was built with cards that I had laying around, and B, it was a deck that a new person coming to the game could end up playing. So that's why I ended up choosing green as the main color for it. And then red was this nice little splash that came on with it. Honestly, this is a more on the green side of a deck to be able to be playing. And if you went through the deck tech, we actually ended up breaking down which of the creatures that we have. So with that being covered, we're going to actually not break that down so much. But we're going to end up breaking down the synergies and what we have overall in the game plan for that. So we have Raga Draga, Gorgut's boss, being our commander for the deck. He wants mana ability creatures. So we have a whole bunch of mana ability creatures that we have in here. So like Birds of Paradise, where they end up tapping for our mana, they're going to get the buff from Gorguts, again, the +2/+2. But another little hidden synergy that you can end up having in here is stuff that ends up becoming a creature. So like a Treetop Village, technically it's a creature that can end up tapping for an ability, or for a mana ability, because it can still make mana. So you can end up making that creature, so it's a 3/3, but it's really a 5/5 with Gorguts being out there. And that's why we also have Raging Ravine, Lair of the Hydra. But as a good little thing to give trample to everything, we also have Kazakh Wolf Run. You don't always have to pump into the X, but with us having so much mana ramp and everything, that's definitely a win con that we can end up coming out with. Talking about other things that have X into it, we also have spells like Wildest Dreams, Green Sun Zenith, and then let's go over here to the Vorus's Hydra. And finally, but not least, is Genesis Hydra. What's big about that is that we have the X, so we're going to be ramping so much because we have so many different creatures, so we'll be able to put X into it. But the big thing about Genesis Hydra is that we get to end up putting whatever we put into X, it'll get that much +1/+1 counters. But it also lets us play a permanent that costs X or less. We get to play all those permanents and be able to put that on the battlefield and have some fun with that. And then Vorus's Hydra ends up being able to fight everything, or double counters, or becomes a big bomb that has to be taken care of. And then, of course, we can't leave our little werebear behind. We gotta have a bear in the deck. This is that bear. Because A, it has mana ability, so it'll be able to get the buff. And B, if we get Threshold, it kind of helps him out be a little bit of a boss of a bear. Ways that we have to stall out the game a little bit for us to be able to win is going to be with fog effects. So we have the good old classic Fog, Tangle, and Obscuring Haze. Obscuring Haze is something that we can end up having if we're tapped out and we have our commander out in the play. Board wipe. The one that we have is super expensive with Uzuri's Predation, but it also makes it so that it ends up fighting everything, and we get that many 4/4 creature tokens. Timber Sargosis allows us to end up tutoring, or looking at the top 7 cards of our library to be able to find a creature card. And if it happens to have a mana cost of 3 or less, it'll get 3 +1/+1 counters instead. Or it also offers the functionality of becoming a land. Risk cards lets us to draw, so there's Shamanic Revelations. And then we have Overwhelming Stampede and Overrun. So these are going to be the overrun effects that we end up having in the deck, where it can end up giving a plus bonus. And then we also end up giving Trample. You got to find that with Kamal, Heart of Corrosa, and Fist of Kamal, or Kamal Fist of Corrosa as well. Both giving it that entire Trample overrun effect that we wanted to have with this deck. Having a bunch of little guys, we need to be able to have some little hoof to it. Also, with me being mainly green, you're also going to see Bellowing Tangleworm giving every green creature that we have Intimidate. It's a nice little way to be able to end up trying to push through some damage. Overall Oddity also has haste for it, but we can end up transforming him into the Behemoth, where other creatures that we have trample and haste. It's a nice little bonus that we can have. Mana ramp is not going to be a problem with this deck because you're going to have tons like Camarana's Acolyte, where we get to put the green mana equal to our devotion 2 green. And then we need something to drop it into, which is the X spells, or we could just have fun and to use our Bravo Sovereign where we make copies of everything. Draw Fuel with Beast Whisperer. So it's a nice little solid deck that we end up having. We have a whole bunch of ways. We got Gaiwa and Electromancer. That makes it a little bit cheaper to be able to play our spells. And then, obviously, stuff's going to end up in the graveyard, so we got ways to bring stuff back from the graveyard. With Revive, Regrowth, and then, obviously, you see that we have Eternal Witness, and then we also have the more expensive Timeless Witness to be able to dig stuff that we've used or ended up making into the graveyard. This allows us to bring that back. I guess also Jorki Visionary is also another way that we can end up bringing stuff back as well. So what do you guys think of the deck? Is this something interesting? Have you ever did any kind of restriction of building a deck that out of the stuff that you had at home? Let us know down in the comments down below. Also, if you're liking the content we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified about whenever we come out with new content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.